Injuries and mysteries, chasing victories. Gossip wild like a runaway child. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Big moves, pay-per-views, breaking all the news. Scandals revealed, deal sealed, who'll be healed? Trash talkers, night stalkers, ring walkers. Next big match, can't scratch this batch. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Big moves, pay-per-views, breaking all the news. Scandals revealed, deal sealed, who'll be healed? Trash talkers, night stalkers, ring walkers. Next big match, can't scratch this batch. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Yeah. Yeah. Wrestling ring, rumor sling, who's gonna bling? Champ got a beef, gotta dodge the teeth. New faces, old graces, masked aces, belts and bruises, night full of excuses. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Backstage drama, full of armor, who's the charmer? Tag teams break dreams, plot schemes. Injuries and mysteries, chasing victories. Gossip wild like a runaway child. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Big moves, pay-per-views, breaking all the news. Scandals revealed, deal sealed, who'll be healed? Trash talkers, night stalkers, ring walkers. Next big match, can't scratch this batch. Turn it up, the Ango Show, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on the Ango Show. It is Friday, January 17, 2025. My name is Ango, and I'm here joined by Billy TKO. Welcome to the show.
What is going on, Ango?
It's a different beast today. The fallout of a marvelous week in professional wrestling. And of course, if you're paying attention to social media, there's a lot of talk, a lot of chit chatter happening. And I feel like today would be perfect to kind of discuss everything. So,
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. 1000%.
Interestingly enough, this is not wrestling related, but it is going to be very interesting to see how it does impact the wrestling industry. I know it's going to impact creators all over the world, but TikTok is going to be banned Sunday unless there's a major change.
So from my understanding, I mean, I'm not going to dive into the political side of it, but from my understanding, there's a 36-hour stay following Sunday. So TikTok won't actually go dark or anything like that, and it'll be left in our upcoming president's hands to determine whether or not he wants to keep it or not. So, I mean, it's all going to fall kind of on him.
Interesting. You know, TikTok goes away, WWE and AEW can't brag about their numbers on TikTok and the amount of views that these people are getting.
No, they cannot.
So that's going to be very interesting. But obviously tonight we got SmackDown. SmackDown's going to be 3 hours long on the USA Network. It's going to be a pretty big show. We'll see what Triple H does there and how he manages to make it a good one. But obviously yesterday we got the news of the WWE TNA partnership, which we spoke a little bit about breaking news wise. And then I was seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter and I really want to talk about it. But of course, where I want to kick things off with is some talk that I'm hearing about within AEW, which is that more AEW stars are being removed from TV. Tony Khan will not be booking people if it's well known that they don't want to be there. They want to go back to WWE, that type of thing. So there's a couple names that I've heard. We can talk about those names in just a second. But when you hear about Tony Khan taking that approach of saying, hey, we're going to remove you from TV, we're going to make you, not part of our TV show. And then when your contract is up, you can just leave. What is your overall response to that? How do you view that business decision coming from Tony Khan? And would you do something differently?
I mean, here's the thing. I think when you think about it in like hindsight, it's like, it's a number one. Yeah, it should be like that. If you don't want to be here, fine. I'm not going to put you on TV. I think the bigger concern and the biggest question or the biggest, piece is that the problem with Tony is why aren't you going to try to get them to do something to make them stay? And that's kind of the first thing that I think. It's like, okay, you've signed these people and you've chosen for them to come to your show. Don't you think that you would like to do something to potentially get them to stay? I mean, we understand that some of these people on this list here have not had TV time in quite some time. So the fact that, Tony is like, okay, well, see ya. I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? If you don't want to be here, don't. But also in the same breath, it's like you're a boss. Shouldn't, as a boss, you be doing everything in your power to make sure that these people are sticking around? That's just my initial thought.
It always shocks me too, to be honest, like why, like this whole thing of like, we have a disgruntled employee. The solution isn't going to be to take them off of television. The solution would be putting them on TV, trying to find a program with them and trying to make sense of it all. I think what really angers me about the whole situation in AEW, and it primarily starts with Malachi Black too, is like, there becomes this notion that like everybody in AEW, they're disgruntled and they want to go back to WWE and there's no way that they're going to stay in AEW. So now they start deciding that they're not going to win matches or lose matches. Like they're going to call their own shots when it comes to their booking. And I don't know if that's true, but that just kind of becomes the thing that's said on social media. But what I think is really interesting is why are we getting to the point where people are, in fact...
Holding Shuttle super chatted $5.
Super chat.
TK just needs to step back and have some actual creative team, especially with this potential Raw TV deal.
Okay, I'm going to address these super chats in just a second. But I just think like if I was Tony Khan, like in that particular situation, I have people that aren't necessarily happy and they're not, like they don't want to be taking the pinfalls or whatever. But that's when you have to be a boss, not... Like, listen, like I'm gonna defend Tony Khan here, but if it is true that Malachi Black and Miro and all these guys, they're 100% rejecting creative every single time. Like at some point, like you got to be a different kind of boss and say, well, listen, like that's not your choice, But the problem is with Tony Khan, and it's well known that in AEW, and this is where I can't defend him, but Tony Khan is known to have given people creative freedom. Mercedes Moné has talked about that. Chris Jericho has talked about that. John Moxley is now being given creative freedom with the Death Rider storyline. You know, when you have certain people on your roster being given creative freedom, and then other people are saying, "Well, no, I'm rejecting this storyline, or I'm rejecting this." Like, at some point, you got to be a boss and say, "Well, no, like, we signed you. This is what we think is the best route for your character, an on-screen character." Now, again, it's hard to say because this is just internet talk, right? Like, I want everybody to be very clear here. Like, that is internet talk. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not Malachi Black has done that or Miro has done that. And that's where I get a little bit more frustrated, because I'm like, I haven't seen anything that confirms that. But obviously, if that was the case, I do think Tony Khan needs to do the opposite of, hey, let's put him off of TV. And hey, this is what your contract is. If you want to leave, then you can leave. Joseph Martin says in the chat, SRS says no one has creative control. Now, that's what I would normally think, but talent have come out and said that they have the ability to have creative input. And it's been well documented that Tony Khan has the final say on everything, but talent do have a little bit more leeway with that. So it's really hard to say whether they actually have full creative control or a little bit of creative control or a little bit of creative input. But I do think, to a certain extent, like, if Miro and Malachi Black are like, hey, we're not doing this, you know, well, Tony Khan, you got to get something. First of all, you got to come up with some good creative for them to not even do that. But at some point, you do got to say, listen, like, this is what we pay you for. Like, this is what we brought you in. I know that some people in professional wrestling, it's probably like an ego thing or whatever, and they don't want that to be the case. They want their characters to be a certain way. But
for sure.
No, you can't. You can't put, like, that's where you got to put trust in the company you sign with. And for Miro, by the way, Miro is on the list of talent who is not going to be on TV. I just want to make this really quick point before we get back to those super chats. But Miro is somebody who came in with the worst freaking gimmick ever. He was not the Redeemer. Like, that was the whole thing with the video games nonsense bullshit. If Miro thought that was good, my bad, bro. But, like, that shit was not good. It made me really not enjoy immediately how he came in. Eventually, okay, we saw him come in and become the Redeemer. Right. But, you know,
that's not how he came in, though.
And I have a hard time believing that Miro is complaining about those kind of things, because look at what he came in with, you know. But
right, exactly.
There's more to discuss. A couple super chats, shout outs. Raging Girl Gamer has been a member for 4 months. So shout out to Raging Girl Gamer, part of the Job Squad. Appreciate you. Tolino Channel back again. 3rd super chat on the live stream, 3 days in a row. Tolino Channel says, Ethan Page on Busted Open, stay at home and get paid. That's the new normal in wrestling. TK thinks that removing wrestlers from TV can kill their momentum. Now wrestlers are testing the water with WWE. This is actually a very fair statement, in the sense that killing their momentum, taking them off TV kills their momentum. I actually don't agree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that statement. I think if you take a look at somebody, I just want to use Ricky Starks as an example, right? Let's be real here. As soon as Ricky Starks comes back to TV, whenever he does and whatever company he lands on, I think we can all agree as a collective and as a community that Ricky Starks will get a big pop to wherever he comes to, right? Yeah. You know, we've seen the GCW thing that he did, and we've seen the reaction that he got inside of that mall. You know, imagine what that's going to look like in an arena or a stadium or wherever this guy chooses to come back. So, I mean, you could say, you know, stay at home and get paid. That's the new norm. But the thing is, I don't think anybody's necessarily losing momentum, because I think we all we want to see these people on TV. For instance, I want to see Miro on TV. You know what I mean? Or I want to see Rusev on TV. I don't care who he comes in as. Yeah. You know, I just want to see these guys on TV. But that's my thought.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think removing people from TV doesn't really kill their momentum in the long term, because I think deep down inside, like, the wrestling audience, not everybody's on the internet, but most of them are on the internet. So people aren't stupid. You can't insult people's intelligence anymore. So, like, the more that somebody's off of TV and there's like this constant reputation of, oh, they're disgruntled, they're not happy in AEW. Well, that's kind of where that stems from.
Right.
You know, it's like that's why they're going to get that big pop. I think like Ray Phoenix, perfect example. Ray Phoenix is going to get a massive pop because people know about Penta being in WWE. And actually, the longer that Tony Khan keeps Phoenix away from Penta,
you're only hurting yourself.
I think you hurt yourself, but I think you actually make it better for WWE. And, you know, maybe at this point, WWE just has a full-on single plan for Penta at this point because they know Phoenix is not going to be there. But if I were AEW, I'd be like, well, let's fuck with their plans a little bit. Penta just had a huge singles debut. Maybe their plans are singles debut. Let's kind of throw a wrench in their plans. And I mean, if they really want to be dirty, you could do that. I want to address something though that Tolino Channel said on his super chat. He says Ethan Page on Busted Open, stay at home and get paid. That's the new normal in wrestling. I do think that is one thing where AEW has kind of engraved that into their culture. It's actually not a bad thing, to be honest, if you have creative plans for people. Like, hey, we have creative plans for, like, Ricochet, for example. I'll give you a perfect example. Ricochet, this would be a perfect example. Ricochet versus Swerve is taking place in 3 weeks. I don't need Ricochet on TV every single week building to that match. They've already done enough to build to it. 3 weeks in time is like, hey, it's a big time match. It's promoted in advance. So to me, it's like, hey, might as well keep Ricochet home. Yeah, he'll still get paid, but now utilize that TV time to set up another big angle for maybe somebody else who isn't being used. Make sense?
Yeah, definitely does.
So we'll see. All Things Hotels dropped a $5 super chat. TK just needs to step back and have some actual creative team, especially with this potential ROH TV deal. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I talked about that, and you and I disagreed on that. I felt that a writing team could potentially help them, maybe in the short term at the very least. I'm not sure how much it would help in the long term, but you actually disagreed with that statement. When did we talk about that? Did
yesterday.
we talk about that? Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm just, as much as I want to believe, and you kind of swayed my opinion a little bit, as much as I want to believe that would be like the right thing to do, I just don't know, because I feel like we've questioned so much about Tony Khan as a boss, and it's like, how much can we continue to question until we're like, okay, well, this is getting a little ridiculous now. And I feel like at some point I'm looking at it like, okay, this is just naturally ridiculous now. There's too much going on, and this guy is just he's not getting any good spotlight like he did before. So I mean, as much as I want to say a writing team will help, and I am a believer that I think it can help in the short term, I just don't understand, or I don't know if that will help in the long term.
Yeah. I think TK doesn't need to step back. I think TK needs to take control. I think TK should have the ideas. I think TK should have the plan to execute. I think TK doesn't need a writing team for AEW's TV product. I think he needs a group of producers that will help produce these matches, with Tony Khan giving the creative input and output that is needed. For me in particular, I think TK also needs to just simply focus on Dynamite and Collision, and whatever is happening with ROH, I would put somebody in control of that. Whether that's Scott D'Amore, whether that's Ango, whether that's Triple H, whether that's William Regal, whether that's Mickey James. I'm just throwing out random ass freaking names. But my point that I'm obviously making is somebody else needs to be fully in control of Ring of Honor. Tony Khan, what do you want?
Sure.
Tony Khan, who do you want Ring of Honor to be built around? Okay, you want the show to be built around Chris Jericho. Great. Chris Jericho now gets removed from AEW Dynamite and Collision. He goes solely to Ring of Honor. And then a person that's going to run creative is going to make sure that Ring of Honor is doing the things that Tony Khan is asking for, and that's it. But I don't think Tony Khan needs this huge writing team. I think Tony Khan needs to have less people in the kitchen with him. And I think Tony Khan needs to be completely like hands-on with every storyline. He needs to micromanage these storylines. And I think it's a rather difficult situation for Tony Khan to be in because you are going to piss off talent. That's why people are now being removed from TV, and because it's when their contracts expire, they're not going to be there, and that's why it's kind of hard for Tony Khan. But at the same time, too, who gives a shit? I would never.
Right.
And I'm going to beat this into my live streams a million times. I'm going to be the guy, and with every opportunity, I will say this: Tony Khan should not have a product or a culture where people are disgruntled. And this is no different than working. This is no different than working at any other job. You have people that are not happy to be there, let them go. Your company thrives on being the alternative. And being the alternative means you have to have great morale. You have to show the reasons why. You have to have that kind of morale that like everybody is just pumped for your company. There used to be a time where it felt like that genuinely was the case. It doesn't feel like that anymore. So for me, Tony Khan doesn't need to step back. I think Tony Khan needs to be more of a micromanager. I think Tony Khan needs to be the kind of guy that says, hey, listen, I'm not listening to all of you. This is my fucking show. This is where I spend my money on. And at the end of the day, like John Moxley's of the world and Kenny Omega's of the world and all these EVPs and all these people that are prominent names in the company. Listen, I'm the one taking the risk financially. I'm the one who's taking the risk reputation wise. Fuck out of here.
Right.
That's my solution to AEW. That's my solution. And listen, the reason why I say this too is because if Tony Khan has a bad storyline, right? If Tony Khan has a bad storyline, but he takes 100% of the control, Tony Khan can then either step away from creative because maybe he just doesn't have that creative gene, or he can go and hire somebody else to do the same thing for him while at the same time, hey, just as an example, I can't think of who it would be, but for the names and for the name purpose, we'll use Chris Danielson or Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels.
I
right.
just Danielson, Brian Danielson. Oh, let's say Brian Danielson. Brian Danielson was somebody who had a little bit of creative stuff on the team. If he wanted, he could say, Brian Danielson, you are going to be the booker. This is what I want to see. I want to see in 2025. This is who I want the show built around. Brian Danielson, I am now removing everything creatively from my power. I'm the checkbook. I am the final approval, but you are going to write this entire show. And if that doesn't work, you go and find somebody who does it. Like, no matter what, I don't think there should be that many cooks in the kitchen. That's my point. And anything that's done on AEW television needs to be separated from Ring of Honor television. So that means Ring of Honor television.
Yeah, they need to separate that real bad.
100%.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
We got $5 Canadian from Colin Hutton. He says, AEW and Tony Khan seem so juvenile to me. Maximum Carnage is the name of a SNES Sega Genesis game from back in the day, not a wrestling program. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought the name Maximum Carnage was cool.
The name's dope. Ain't nothing wrong with the name.
I thought the branding, the logo, the graphics, everything was cool.
The main event sucked, but the name's dope.
You know, what is a wrestling pay-per-view name? Or what's what's the one? I don't know. Is it that bad? I mean, Great Balls of Fire was fucking ass.
Yeah, Great Balls of Fire was insane. Oh God, do you remember that pay-per-view? That was horrible.
I don't even remember the pay-per-view. I think Samoa Joe wrestled on
Joe,
it.
yeah, he fought for the title.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
It was a fatal four-way match. It was a fatal four-way match.
I'm going to look this up now because I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, it was
WWE Great Balls of Fire. Maybe we should do like a retro review. It's not really retro though. That was 2017?
Yeah, that's kind of retro now. If you think about it, that's 8 years ago.
That's crazy. Great Balls of Fire. Yeah, Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. Hey, low key, I'm not gonna lie though, this poster goes kind of fucking hard.
Can you put it on the screen?
Yeah, let me see. Hey, let me see if I could let me throw this on the screen really quick. This shit's fire. I don't care. Hey, I swear to God, I'm not even bullshitting you. People are gonna think I'm trolling. I'd put this shit on my back wall.
Right. That is kind of tough.
I don't know why. It's kind of fire. Great Balls of Fire. Chat, what should we do? What should we do? Should I get this as a poster? Do they have this as a poster? Let me see. Great Balls of Fire – poster 24 by 36. I need that. I need the big one.
24 by 36. 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 24
WWE.
Dude, you won't get it as a poster.
You're telling me I wouldn't get it as a poster? Fuck yeah, I
No.
would. That shit goes
No,
hard.
you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
I swear I would.
You're such a liar, bro. Stop the cap.
Nah, I mean, that's serious. I want to get posters on the back.
I know that. I just don't think you got it in you to put that one up out of all
I
of
would.
them. Okay.
I need wrestling posters. Chat, come on, bro. I need wrestling posters. Great Balls of Fire. That one goes hard, though.
That one is dope. It was dope.
I don't remember anything else from the card. Let me see what was on that card. This is okay. The Angle show is taking a little bit of a left turn, but I want to see.
Yeah.
Fuck
We've
it.
taken a turn.
Great Balls of Fire card. Let's see. I'm not even going to look up the results because I'm going to go back and watch it. That's how much I forgot about it. Obviously, Samoa Joe lost because that company never fucking gave him the world championship. That piece of shit company.
I know.
Vince McMahon.
I know.
Fuck.
I just want to go back and watch a Vince pay-per-view from that era and just see what it was like.
Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, Alexa Bliss versus
That's
Sasha
what it
Banks, Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt, The Bar versus the Hardys, The Miz 30-minute Iron Man Raw Tag Team Championship match, The Miz versus Dean Ambrose, Enzo Amore versus Big Cass, and Neville versus Akira Tozawa on the preview show. Hey, dead ass though, on paper, that shit is kind of fire.
Yes, that shit was kind of stacked.
I don't remember it though. I swear to God, I really don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember that shit.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But the bar, you remember the bar? That was insane.
Good times. Good times.
Man, great times.
Good fucking times.
Cesaro and Sheamus were like the only two dudes putting on great matches on a random Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah. What a
Fuck
pay-per-view.
Vince McMahon, bro. How do you give us Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar and you don't give the belt to Samoa Joe? But this whole conversation stemmed from the super chat saying Maximum Carnage was a bad name or whatever.
Yeah.
But nah, Maximum Carnage was a cool name. It's whatever. I mean, listen, wrestling pay-per-views and I mean, I guess it technically wasn't a pay-per-view, but we've had great balls of fire, so I can't really complain. But at the end of the day, it's not really what you name it. It's all about the product that you're putting out. And if you're not putting out a good product, dude, you ain't going to get the attention. Listen, I'm going to be real. I read these spoilers for Maximum Carnage for Collision, and I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But I got, by the way, Saturday, you got the Lions game. Like, you got NFL playoffs and shit, and you got UFC. Like, how is Collision going to compete with those? They got to move. Honestly, Collision, like, AEW Collision should probably move nights, honestly. That's the way I'm looking at it. Because Collision going up on a Saturday night, I read these spoilers. They're pretty poopy. They're pretty shitty.
I mean,
like,
it's Collision.
There's no reason why Collision, I don't give a fuck. CM Punk, his version of Collision was cool.
Yeah, it had depth to it.
I don't know. His version of Collision was honestly fire, and then Collision kind of fell off, and then there were some moments on Collision that were sick, and like, I don't know. To me, I'm looking at these spoilers, and I'm just like, yeah, it's really not that good. So
no, Collision recently just isn't it at all.
And dude, Saturday's card for those who watch UFC, Arman Saryukin versus Islam Makhachev, and then you got Merab Davashvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov.
Is Merab fighting?
Yeah, so it's a stacked card. Yuri Prohaska's fighting Jamal Hill.
No.
It's an absolute,
Jamal Hill is too?
Yeah, so it's absolutely stacked. Now, also being from Detroit, by the way, let me just kind of throw this out there. Being from Detroit, we got the Pistons game at 4 p.m. We got the Lions game at 8 p.m. At the same time, too, we have the auto show, which is like the biggest thing in Detroit all the time. So Saturday is an absolute stacked day. And then we have UFC as well. So the Lions are going to go on to beat the Redskins' ass, right? Or I'm sorry, they're not called the Redskins anymore, right? They're something else. Washington football team.
Yeah, they're the Commanders.
Okay, the Commanders. So the Lions are going to beat their ass. Then we got UFC. Like, how do you choose a collision with a 12-man tag team match? That really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what are you expecting me to do? Like, it's a busy day, and I'm not picking collision.
It's sad, man. But that's the thing, though. I will say this is where wrestling companies need to get off of Saturdays. Like, Collision should be on Thursdays. Like the way I envision this, Mondays. I get so much shit for this too. Monday, Raw. Tuesday, SmackDown. Wednesday, NXT and Dynamite. Head to head, cowards. Do it. Thursday, Collision, and Friday, TNA Impact. And then literally. Honestly, if you want TNA, they could go head to head with Collision too. But Friday, it's like Saturday nights should not be anything, not even a fucking pay-per-view. Sunday nights should be wrestling pay-per-views. TNA Genesis is going to be taking place this Sunday, which we could talk a little bit about as well now with the partnership. But I don't like PLEs on Saturday nights. Never liked them on Saturday nights. Always thought pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever you want to call it, should always be on Sundays. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So fuck that shit. I ain't watching Collision at all. It's just not happening. Tolino Channel dropped 40 rupees. NXT, WWE ID, NIL, LOG, the talent scouting game. Billy, what is your thoughts on WWE's way of scouting?
I mean, I'm not going to say like it's bad or anything like that. I think WWE has actually done a really good job scouting because I think they look in all places. And I think as a scout, that's what you're supposed to do. You know, talent can't just be, in one place. And WWE has always looked more than one place. So it's kind of like taking the NIL stuff and then going to independent wrestling as well. Like, I don't know. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, I am too. I don't know. It is what it is. I think it's a good strategy. I think for WWE, the fact that they're doing WWE ID really hurts AEW though. I think WWE putting more influence on the indies really hurts AEW.
Yeah, on the independent scene.
I think it helps the independent scene. I think it hurts AEW.
No. That's what I'm saying. It hurts AEW because AEW for quite some time was, when they did like Dark and Elevation and stuff like that, they were putting a lot of focus.
I miss Dark. I miss Dark and Elevation. I would tell people, I'm like, it's not really for me to watch because sometimes you're just seeing people get squashed and shit. But Dark and Elevation was probably the best thing AEW did in hindsight because at the end of the day, it gave them a roadmap to signing talent. Now, some of those people they didn't sign. They didn't sign Elena Black, who went on to WWE to become Cora Jade. They didn't sign Fallon Henley, who was Tasha Price, I think was her name, or Tisha Price, whatever. Kiana James. There was a lot of people that went there. WWE looked at AEW and they were like, hey, they're not signing these people. We're going to sign them and bring them into NXT 2.0, which was a brilliant strategy, to be honest. That's how I kind of saw it. That's how I think, when I look at it, that's kind of how it works. But Dark and Elevation was that thing for AEW that kind of set them like, hey, you'll get some in-ring action. The problem is it became all freaking squash matches. But what it should have really been done, they should have just let people wrestle and wrestle and wrestle. You don't have to have programs. You don't have to have storylines, but just let them wrestle. People in AEW, wrestling fans, love the matches anyways. It is what it is. That's kind of how it's going to be. But, yeah, it is what it is. Shout out to Talino Channel for the super chat. Combat Sports Today, my favorite combat sports coverage. UFC 311 predictions for the main card. Merab wins. I don't have the full card in front of me, but Merab's going to beat Umar Nurmagomedov, and Arman Saryukin will become champion. He's going to beat Islam Makhachev, and Yuri's going to win. For some reason, I feel like Yuri Prohaska is going to lose, actually, but I'm going to say Yuri wins. And I don't know what else is on the main channel, but I am going to give a shout out to Bernardo Sopai, who is this Albanian kid. He came into the UFC a couple months ago. He debuted and he had a freaking amazing fight. He got fucking kneed to the face at the end, But it's okay because UFC is giving him another chance, and he's going to be on the prelims at 6 p.m. So you bet your ass I'm going to watch that shit for my Albanians. Yeah, that's going to be fire as fuck. So that's all that really matters. Billy, I don't know. You watch UFC a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah. All right. So I'm looking at the main card right now.
Yeah. What else am I missing?
So we have Kevin Holland versus Rainer de Ritter.
Oh, yes. Oh, he's from ONE FC. That's going to be badass, too. He's going to have a sick-ass debut.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I could see him probably winning that fight over Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's kind of been in a slump recently.
Yeah.
We got Beneil.
Dariush is fighting...
Renato.
Yeah, Money Moicano.
Yeah.
Gonna be great.
That one will be good. I'm going to take Beneil.
No. Money Moicano wins. He's on like a 6-fight win streak.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that I know. Yuri and Jamal Hill. Give me Yuri.
Yeah. I feel bad not picking a guy from Michigan.
I know. He's from what, Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
We got Marab and Umar. Give me Marab.
Yeah.
Give me Marab.
I'm always gonna pick Marab. He's sick. He's good. He's good on the ground. He's good, and he can strike. He's fast. He's got a tank.
And not to be a hater to anybody, but give me Islam.
Oh, no.
Bro, Islam is a beast.
Yeah, bro. I don't know about that, but
Islam getting KO'd is crazy.
I think he does get KO'd, bro. I think he gets KO'd. But listen, this is my opinion. I think Islam is better than Khabib. I really do. I think Islam's the best. I just, for some reason, I have a very strong feeling that Saryukin is just gonna use like his weight and his body. Like, bro, he's just
he looks a little bigger.
I think he'll use his muscle a little bit. I think he's gonna use his body to slow down Islam and make it hard for him. And that's just how I see it. Maybe, you never know. Islam is a fucking beast. But yeah. Shout out to Combat Sports today for the $1.99. The GCW show dropped $2. Do you think we will see Tessa Blanchard in NXT? Okay.
Let's talk about it.
I think WWE will utilize the partnership to test the waters to see what the reaction is to Tessa.
To Tessa Blanchard, right.
I think WWE purposely stayed away from her, but because she's a TNA talent, maybe they get away from it. I don't know. Personally speaking, I don't think so, but you never know. WWE. I mean, listen, bro. I'm not gonna beat up on Tessa and her whole situation. There was a lot of stuff said about Tessa, but at the same time, too, I wasn't backstage. I know that people who were personally in the situation had come out and said, "Hey, like they spoke to Tessa and it's cleared up and whatever." To me, she didn't say anything to me. I'm not going to be some fake offended type of person here. From what I saw, she had the conversations that she was supposed to have. And if those people are okay with it, whoever, was.
They brought her back.
Yeah. Like, do I think WWE will utilize her? I think it'll be a minute until they do, but you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not their talent, but the cool thing about the partnership, right? And this is where I personally feel like it benefits both companies is if somebody doesn't work out in TNA, maybe WWE has a better opportunity of bringing them into WWE.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't work out in WWE, like for example, WWE got rid of Indy Hartwell, right? But like, when they got rid of Indy Hartwell or Baron Corbin because of this partnership, it's like, hey, listen, like we don't plan on using you. We don't plan on signing you. We don't plan on doing this, but we have a roadmap where you could go immediately to TNA TV. We'll waive the 90-day non-compete thing. Like you don't got to wait. We'll let you jump over if you want. And if TNA says, hey, like we'll pick up your contract or we'll agree to a new contract, if they could come up with some sort of system that helps financially or whatever, like that'd be pretty cool,
For sure.
But I don't think Tessa will be on NXT. I don't think WWE wants to deal with that just yet. So.
No. I mean, they're going to hear the reaction in TNA and stuff like that, because the thing about this partnership is eventually it's supposed to make TNA grow, right? Yeah. So they'll see how the reaction is later on and see how she is possibly with a more mainstream audience.
So So on that note, why do you think so many people are immediately coming out and being like WWE is going to try to buy TNA? Like when this partnership gets announced, like why is is this like the tribalistic thing of like where people just want to think WWE is using TNA to eventually buy them, or like,
Yeah. I mean, I think for so long we were trained to understand like partnerships don't happen with WWE. Vince McMahon he's a monopoly. He runs this place. This is what it is. So people have been trained to think that, oh well, if WWE is doing any work with any other company, chances are they're going to buy it. Are they going to buy Pro Wrestling Noah too? Are they going to do that? Are they going to buy other places that they're working with? Are they going to do that? It's just because it's TNA that they think they're going to buy it. I actually don't think that's the case at all. Matter of fact, I think they are going to utilize TNA for growth on both sides of the ball. WWE doesn't need to buy TNA. They don't have to. What do they want to buy him for? I don't know. I feel like, is there a world where it could happen? Sure. I mean, anything's possible. I'm not a fortune teller, but this whole idea that WWE is ready to purchase TNA, to me is absurd. Number one, because I just think that it's based off of what we've been trained to understand, and it's not any form of reality. It's people going on the internet and saying, "Oh, well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen." And when you talk about the tribalism thing, that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. It's because of what we have been trained to understand beforehand, when that is no longer the case.
I don't think it really makes sense for WWE to buy TNA because, quite frankly, WWE is not doing the global localization thing. No. Like if WWE was trying to buy up or create these performance centers around the world, like they were saying, and having NXT this and NXT that or whatever, okay, It would make sense for WWE to do that. But WWE doesn't need to do that now. WWE has realized that the point is not actually creating content. It's about getting the talent and having their footprint everywhere. Right. And that's why I don't think WWE would buy TNA. Granted, I said this yesterday too, like I can't predict the future, but it doesn't really make sense for WWE to buy TNA when you consider like their actual plan and what they're doing. Obviously like they're going to have NXT Evolve, right? NXT Evolve is going to be like the little stomping ground for all these NIL and WWE ID talent that'll be able to work there before they make it to NXT. Basically what WWE has essentially done is solidified NXT truly as their third brand. Where all the people that are developing, like from WWE's like NIL and ID program, those people will go to Evolve. They'll climb the ladder and make it to NXT. From NXT, they'll have the opportunity to work with TNA, which is good for more experience. Maybe there's not enough creative, it's a 2-hour show. Maybe there's not enough opportunity for them to be on this one, but hey, we'll get you on this one. We'll let you go for the X Division belt or whatever. And then eventually, everybody's goal is to get to Raw or SmackDown. But I think this solidifies NXT truly being the third brand. WWE buying TNA, I mean, even if they wanted to buy the tape library, I really don't think WWE has much value. Like, I don't think it brings much value to WWE for that. And for WWE to buy TNA, why would you buy the company for their roster when now you just have their roster at your disposal any single time? So I don't know like what this is with the professional wrestling industry and the IWC, where everybody immediately clings onto this idea that WWE is going to buy them out. Granted, that's what WWE did a long time ago. I think it would be far more likely that WWE at one point in time will actually attempt to buy AEW versus trying to buy TNA, because TNA doesn't put a dent.
If they're going to try and buy anybody, it'll be AEW.
Yeah, I mean, and I think people will look at me crazy. I don't think Tony Khan would ever sell it to WWE, but I do think if AEW was getting to the point where they were bleeding money and it was like really, really bad, I think you would see far more likely an offer coming from WWE to buy them versus TNA. And that's the thing. Like TNA doesn't, I always said this, TNA doesn't put a dent in WWE. GCW doesn't. Like GCW, TNA, MLW, none of these companies hurt WWE. The only thing that could even potentially hurt WWE is if AEW continues to grow. And they're just simply not going to do that. So, it sucks. It's unfortunate. I wish AEW would grow and I would love to see them blossom, but that's what happens when you get your shit wrong so many times. Like, There was an opportunity within the first few years where AEW actually made a dent in WWE. Like
For sure.
from a perception perspective, from a number perspective, like NXT was getting their ass kicked, and it was
by AEW.
And it was like, hey, like the way they're kicking NXT's ass is it's just keep doing this, and you're probably going to kick Raw's ass. And then obviously timing is everything, and we saw what happened with Triple H coming into power and whatever, but it doesn't make sense for WWE to buy TNA. It doesn't make sense for WWE to want TNA to die. I mean, honestly, I think if anything, if Anthem, I can't speak on this because I don't know what Anthem's pockets are like, but Anthem is a $1 billion company. They're a big company.
Huge.
People don't realize this. Now, how much money is allocated to TNA? I don't know, but if they needed more money, I think Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel and WWE would be like, hey, man, like, we'll help you.
Yeah, at this point, because you've created a partnership.
We created this partnership. We see some benefit. You guys see some benefit.
Yep.
We want to keep you around. Because here's the thing. WWE is never going to help TNA get to the point where TNA could kill WWE. But they will prop them up if it hurts AEW.
Yeah, they'll help them in times of need.
Yeah, but if for WWE, their partnership with TNA kind of helps kind of keep
them
AEW from growing to the same thing, you know. And if TNA were, let's just say, magically able to become the number 2 company, I think for WWE that's even better, because then then it looks good. You know, when people talk about WWE trying to be a monopoly, it's like, no, we love this wrestling industry so much. Look, we just helped TNA exceed all expectations.
And now you can't tell me anything.
Yeah, so it's a thing where I think WWE obviously has their reasons for why they're doing this. But I also want to point out that the most important aspect of it all is that if WWE were to buy TNA, there would actually have to be some value there. And there is none. There is no value in buying TNA. There's no value in buying NWA or MLW. These companies need to survive to keep the ecosystem super healthy. And so if WWE had to choose, like if I was Nick Khan and I'm looking at the wrestling landscape and I'm like, okay, what company could benefit from us working with them? TNA is the one that makes the most sense. They do have a TV deal. Their TV partner is the company that owns TNA. So now you're not battling with other executives. But then also, TNA has their own streaming app and they do their PLEs. They are a weekly TV show. Yes, they may not be live, but WWE, I think, would look at that and be like, okay, well, NWA doesn't really fit modern wrestling. GCW, we let our talent work there and we're cool with them, but like, you know, it's not really safe for maybe our brand to be 100% associated with them and including them on our TV product. You know,
TNA is the safest bet.
It is. It really is the safest bet. So that's kind of how I look at it. And I don't know. I think
I can see that.
I think it's a good idea. Do I think they'll buy TNA? Fuck no. Do I think they want to buy TNA? Fuck no. Do I think WWE at some point will try to buy TNA? Fuck no. But what I do think ends up happening is that WWE tries to build TNA up as much as possible, and it will be a big middle finger to the AEW brand and to the company and to Tony Khan. And, you know, it's a reminder, like if AEW maybe handled it differently, they could have been working with WWE. And I think that's why WWE does this. I mean, it's just to kind of remind them, like, hey, you could have been like this. You could have, you know, but
yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass too, but it is what I'm seeing. So yeah. With that being said, guys, we did hit our super chat goal. So let's do a couple of shout-outs to those who think super chats today. The GCW show, Combat Sports Today, Tolino Channel. Thank you all for dropping those super chats. Oh, we just got one as we hit our goal. In Digital Films dropping a $6.99. Do you think that Owens, McIntyre, Rollins, and Zayn forming a faction to become the big feud with the Bloodline Punk in 2025? This is a good question.
That is.
I like the dynamic of Owens and McIntyre doing something together. I like the idea of them doing something with Rollins. I would say keep Sami Zayn off of it, but I think Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross are showing us that maybe Sami Zayn could be going heel soon. So I don't know. What do you think?
All I'm saying is we have some future crash outs with two already crash outs in McIntyre and Kevin Owens, but for sure two future crash outs potentially in Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. I think we're going to see the landscape of WWE here soon shift in probably a direction that we didn't really see coming. Like Sami Zayn being heel or going heel, I truthfully, like, it's needed for sure, but I do not like. When I seen what he did with Karrion Kross, I was like, really? Are they going to tease that and do that? So I don't know.
think Zayn joins Karrion Kross. I just think
No.
Karrion Kross gets in his head.
Yeah, he's the effect. That's what he does.
It's the thing I'm excited to see how they follow up with last week, but I want to see what they do with Owens and McIntyre tonight. And, this transfer portal is a thing that's happened. Kevin Owens is on SmackDown. We got to get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, damn it. We know Triple H is foaming out of the mouth for this. We know that he is.
Yes.
We know he wants that. So we got to get there some way. If this is a way to do it, I'm down. I really think Seth Rollins would benefit from the character change. I think Sami Zayn would benefit from the character change. Sami Zayn, when he was doing his heel turn under Vince McMahon, I thought that he was really, really good.
The conspiracy theorist?
Yeah. So it was just like, dude, it was good. I like it. And I like Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn needs to cut his hair like NXT style back when he had the shorter hair and just go heel and just haluva kick everybody. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Not opposed to it.
Shout out to In Digital Films for the $6.99 super chat. Appreciate you.
Shout out.
I think that's pretty much it, honestly. Today's a chill day.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think there's really much. I know Billy's kind of sick, and it's unfortunate, but he came through, and I got tons of content. Oops, I just muted myself. I got tons of content for everybody for today, so that'll be good. Obviously, I'm really excited to see what's happening with SmackDown tonight. Tomorrow, I will not be watching Collision. Like I said, I just way too much stuff in the cards for tomorrow, which sucks. I'm sure I'll get to it. With Max streaming service, I'll watch it at some point. And then obviously the Lions are in this. They're going to the fucking Super Bowl, baby. And then Arman Saryukin is gonna go become world champion, and my boy Marab's gonna go out there and he's gonna kill it. So obviously, I'm very, very geeked to see some of the stuff that's happening this week. But yeah,
man,
fun stuff. Appreciate everybody pulling up. It's a little bit shorter today than normal, but it's okay because we will be live Monday. Tons of stuff to talk about on Monday, and
I'll be back better than ever.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I can't speak for Billy. I can speak for myself. My plan is to go live after TNA Genesis. Billy, you're obviously invited to come through if you'd like.
I will be there.
TNA Genesis is taking place Sunday, so I'll be live for the post show.
Yep, I'll be there with you.
And yeah, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for pulling up and having a good time. And thank you, chat, for going off. I see you guys. I recognize y'all. And peace.